Platelets. What are platelets? If you remember from Dr. Trevor Williams in the last episode, what we talked about was platelet rich plasma as a treatment for running injuries. Today I'm going to let you know what platelets are and why they're so important and how the platelet rich plasma therapy may be a beneficial solution for you. Right back. Hey everybody, Brian Boyle here, and welcome back to episode 178 of The Mesh Tongue. It's been a while, but as always, I appreciate the comments, appreciate the emails that I'm still getting in from you. Check out the new website. Website Company 5K has been redesigned with some testimonials from folks that have been actually getting some benefit, and we've been able to then take some of these videos and such and apply them to their own racing and training, and so those are coming in as we speak. So I appreciate you if you've sent in a testimonial, and I appreciate you watching these videos. This is good. You know, it's always great to get the questions in, because it lets me know what you are thinking, and there's no question that's too basic. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'm thinking so high up here, I'm like, oh, what would people want to know? That sometimes the most basic questions that come in are like, I'm an idiot. I can't even believe that I didn't talk about that as of yet. 178 episodes in, and we're still finding things that's like, man, I'm talking way up here, should be talking way down here, and so you may be getting some benefits. So, platelet rich plasma, we talked about that last episode with Dr. Trevor Williams, and if you haven't watched that, go back to 177 and take a look at that. But what are platelets? And we didn't really get into that, right? Because it sounds platelet rich plasma, we talked about the injections and how it can hurt and all this stuff. But what are platelets? Well, platelets are these things that thrombocytes, okay, and they come from the bone marrow. So if you're thinking about that, that's where they're coming from. Now, they're a small percentage of the actual blood, but what happens is that they act as inflammatory mediators. So if you have inflammation, if you have some sort of injury, they get deployed rapidly. These platelets get deployed rapidly. They go in and they help kind of with blood clotting. Okay, so it's a good thing to have these platelets, but if we think about them also with an injury, they actually go in and help to kind of mediate this inflammatory response. Inflammation is a good thing. That's the reason why if you're working out, if you're doing any resistance training and you get that delayed onset muscle soreness, don't take an anti-inflammatory. You know what? We want some inflammation to occur in there. That's going to allow the muscle to rebuild and grow. So sometimes after training, don't necessarily, especially if you're really sore, don't necessarily reach for the anti-inflammatory meds right away. You're going to want some of that inflammation, okay, to actually allow the muscle to break down and allow this training effect to occur. But platelets, again, they're very, very important for that process. So if we think about that, if we can then send a massive amount right into that area, in theory, we should be able to create this inflammatory response. We want that to occur, okay? And then as these platelets are sitting there, they actually help to mediate that. So if you remember, Dr. Williams talked about not having any sort of anti-inflammatories or ice or anything like that for probably 3 to 5 days, which can be really, really intimidating to somebody that if you're like, dude, you just like stabbed me with this needle. I've got a fantastic video of my brother-in-law that he sent me this video, and he's like, oh my gosh, this is killing me, okay? I say it's fantastic in the sense that it was just funny to see him actually going through this, but it's intense, it's painful, all right? But if you're at your last draw and you're thinking this is the last thing, you'd be willing to go through anything at this point, especially if you've been in pain that long. So, for 3 to 5 days, you can't have any ice or you can't have any anti-inflammatory meds. At that point, we'd tell probably TENS units to modulate that pain. So there is some benefit that you can get. Again, since it's on the outside, maybe even a topical topical solution that just kind of sits on the outside. You can have that since they don't really have any sort of anti-inflammatory properties. It's more like I said, it's the menthol and topical. So, key with all of this, though, is to have a reason for why you're doing it. So, if you'll recall, last-ditch effort, probably not the first place you're going to start. You have an injury, and you've gone through all other conservative means. Then platelet-rich plasma may be an option for you. But I had some questions as to why. People were asking, where are platelets from? It doesn't make any sense. PRP, you're throwing this acronym around. Where do platelets even come from? Again, they come from the bone marrow, so they're in each of our bones. They get released into the bloodstream. They are a clotting factor, thrombocytes, from there. They also are deployed for inflammations, for injuries and things like that, and they help to mediate or actually reduce the amount of inflammatory response that occurs. So they are very, very important. And again, this PRP is rapidly gaining acceptance, but again, not everybody's going to require this or going to benefit from it. So hopefully you find some value in this. If you do, please share this with your friends, your family, your training partners. Whatever you do, though, don't go hurting yourself to come back. And if you've got any questions, again, Brian, Brian at company5k, that's the number 5k.com, and I'll be happy to get back to you. All right, that's a wrap. Episode 178, The Mesh Tongue. We'll see you next time.